Hi, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel and I'm back on Earth. Thank you so much if you tuned in to my stream. You'll know what I'm talking about. I'm fine. Dean's okay. But today I have a classic recommendations video. Today we're going to talk about some horrors and thrillers that are downright disturbing, outrageous, shocking, and these are from around the world. These are also films that I feel are greatly underappreciated, and I do give my seal of approval to every single one, but they're for a different audience, so listen up with the descriptions. I'm sure there's something in here for you. Let me know by the end of the video how many of these you've heard about or you've seen, or both. Let me know how many you've seen and you've heard about. I am very excited. I was very shocked putting this list together, so I hope you enjoy. Let's get into the disturbing content. And the first one is very accessible. You can find this first chilling Spanish thriller on Netflix. It's The Occupant. In this dark Spanish thriller, we follow Javier, who is on the brink of losing the life he loves. He must now leave the beautiful apartment his family calls home, but instead of focusing on a new chapter for himself and his family, he is determined to get back what he saw as a higher quality of living. Unable to accept his new lifestyle, he finds himself visiting his family's old luxury apartment and becomes obsessed with the new occupant and his family. It all seems like some innocent story of letting go and accepting until you realize that the main character has a strange addiction to pushing the boundaries to get what he wants. The film slowly unravels the evil behind the main character as everyone else remains oblivious to his plans. The real question is, how far is he willing to go and at what cost? The pacing of this film had me in a tense spell as Javier, played by Javier Gutierrez, is absolutely brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to checking out his other work. This film has heavy themes of ego and jealousy, all wrapped into a story about playing with others. And as the audience, we watch on helplessly under his spell. Be warned, this is not for the faint heart. There's some disturbing turns. As a stalker film fan, this one scratches that itch perfectly for me. And great news again, this one is on Netflix in most countries. My Scandinavian viewers will know about the next film. You would have heard of its reputation. I was lucky enough to see it in a film festival. For some viewers, it has not hit your screens just yet, but you'll want to keep an eye out because it's coming very soon, and you won't want to miss this one if you're into disturbing cinema. It's The Innocents. The Innocents is an extremely disturbing Norwegian drama horror. The name comes from the theme about the innocence of children, but some of the children in this film are anything but innocent. I'm telling you, this is all the birth control I need. The film opens up to a story about a young girl who moves into an apartment complex and begins to test her strength in disturbing ways, using those around her, including her sister, who's on the spectrum, as an experiment. But it's not entirely about her. She is but an aspect existing to show the powers of the other kids in the building and their pure ignorance to the ramifications of that power. I know I'm speaking in riddles, but let's just say there's a unique mystery fantasy aspect that is both beautiful and creepy at the same time. It's a very interesting and original concept. The film is not heavy on dialogue, but it relies heavily on the child actors who are fantastic. It's hard to even comprehend how they could be so self-aware at such a young age. Overall, it's a dark, slow film that will have you feeling both curious and tense about what's coming next. No joke, I was flinching the entire film. Keep an eye out to see if this hits cinemas in your area soon. A lot of people call this next film the German Silence of the Lambs, but I disagree. The film has a very different story, style, and execution. Antibodies is a disturbing crime thriller that is a product of its time, but what it lacks in polished production, it makes up for in its chilling content. The film follows Michael, a village police officer who gets tied professionally and personally to a case. And when they find the killer, the story only has just begun. Now Michael must find out if he is the killer he is looking for, or if it's just another sick game. The killer in question, Gabrielle, is one of the most disgusting villains I've come across in a long while. As a serial killer, he has an obsession with young boys and their blood. Even though the cat and mouse cop and killer game may have echoes of Silence of the Lambs, the director is sure to nod towards this fact and let you know that he is aware of the similarities, but also of the major differences. The film has a lot of surprising twists and turns. It's a very tense and disturbing ride, which will have you on the edge of your seat. I'm kind of shocked that no one ever talks about this one. Marbito is a low-budget Japanese horror mystery directed by Takashi Shimizu, but it often gets left off lists, possibly because the plot of this film is a lot harder to digest than his other work. The title is an ancient Japanese word that refers to a supernatural being who comes from afar bringing gifts of knowledge and happiness. But it's anything but cheerful. It's a dark, cruel, and disturbing film about a freelance cameraman who becomes obsessed with footage of a man who stabbed himself in the eye in a train station. And now he needs to unravel the mystery behind what this man did. What could someone see that could possibly cause them to do that to themselves? His search leads him to many dark places, starting with the hidden tunnels and passageways beneath Tokyo, a place only thought of as a myth. But what he finds there goes beyond even our comprehension. It's not only evil, disturbing, and violent, it's mind-bending. It's a downward spiral into deep conspiracy. I find this one to be one of the more frightening on this list. Yes, like the others, it is psychological, but the setting underground gives me goosebumps. If you're gonna watch this one, try and save it for a dark and silent night. Marbito is for horror fans who like grungy, low-budget horror. The found footage fans who like the disturbing, experimental, gritty stylization. When the film isn't in found footage perspective, it's a handheld camera that makes it feel like a guerrilla film, adding a layer of rawness that authenticates its message of an underground film. If you enjoy films like this and haven't checked them out, I would also recommend the more well-known Noroi and Occult. I have mentioned this film several years back, but honestly, it never gets as much praise as it should. It's another chilling Spanish thriller that walked so Airbnb horror could run. The movie follows apartment concierge Caesar. Caesar is a seemingly nice and helpful man. That is until we realize that he believes he was born without the ability to be happy. He will never be satisfied and content, and his sourness seeps out in harmful ways. He gets pleasure out of creating hell for those around him. He's really the anti-Amelie. The film starts kind of slow as we watch him mess with those around him, but Caesar meets his match when a young woman in the building proves to be hard to break, and the lengths he will cause to create chaos are disturbing to say the least. From here, the film begins to take a turn, and it is exhilarating. To add to that, it's shown from his perspective and in a dialogue, so we're dragged through his mental anguish and forced to watch him harm those around him. Sleep Tight will leave you with fears you never knew you had. Maybe it's time to change those locks. So how many of this list have you seen, and what foreign horrors that are disturbing do you think get neglected? I want to know down below. I love using the comments as a resource to find new and especially disturbing films, and I know everyone else does, so leave them down below. Interesting enough, doing this video and finding these gems had me falling back in love with Spanish psychological thrillers. I found so many, but I wanted to include obviously different countries in this video. But if you are interested, I can do a video based purely on Spanish thrillers and horrors because there are so many good ones. I went down a hole. So let me know if you're into that down below in the comments. I did want to put a quick warning at the end here. If you are sensitive to fake portrayals of animal harm in films, you may want to skip The Innocents and Antibodies. More The Innocents, because my gosh, but I just want to throw that out there. As always, I do recommend the website doesthedogdie.com. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.